Welcome back to another Dazzling Clay creation. Today I'll be making Koraidon from the new Pokemon Scarlet. I've been sculpting for a little over 2 years now, and so I really wanted to try making something ridiculously hard looking to test and show off my skills. Plus, I really love this Pokemon's design. I mean, he turns into a freaking motorcycle. For this huge sculpture, I didn't feel like using an armature. No paint was used either. This Pokemon is solid clay. Oh, and if we can get this video to 1 million views, I'll make the other legendary from Pokemon Violet. Just kidding, I'll be making it at some point anyway, but please help support the video by subscribing and sharing it as much as possible so I can continue making awesome sculptures like this one. So now, let's get started. I'll be working from the bottom to the top, so I'll start by making the legs. I press them into a more triangular shape and then I'll stick on the pointy toes. Claws. Yeah, now I'll use this tool to smudge them together. To smooth all the lines and texture left after using the tool, I'll go over it with my finger to rub it all away. Next, I'll attach his thighs. And for extra support, I'm going to be inserting a couple toothpicks. Now I'll be making the arms. The steps are about the same, just stick on some spiky claws and smudge them on. I also inserted a toothpick in the arms, but I didn't end up using it anyway. I propped the legs up on a glass to make sure they stay at the right angle, and now I'll bake the pieces. I made this chunk of clay for the upper body, and I'll be attaching the legs by smoothing the clay over top. The back of the thighs have a cool spiky detail. After I smooth them on, I'll use a cookie cutter to prop up the body so it doesn't fall, and then I'll bake everything again. Now that everything's solid, I can easily create the white designs on the body. I'll take a thin white sheet of clay and press it on. Then I'll cut off the excess until I'm happy with the way it looks. The middle toes and fingers have a webbing between them, so I'll cut out a triangular shape and press it inside. I'll also make the diamond detail on the back of his thighs. Like I said earlier, I didn't need the toothpicks in the arms, so I snipped them off and attached the arms just like I did the legs. I'll add the diamond detail to the arms, and now I'll bake everything again. Next, I'll be working on the tail. It turns into a tire, so it has a line texture going all the way around, and I'll create that with my plastic knife. The tail also connects to the front of his body and comes out of him more towards the bottom of his back, which is pretty helpful because now I can stand him up on his own. I cut off some excess of the tail because it was a bit too long, and I created the red piece that goes on the end. Now I'll bake everything. Since everything is solid now, I'll glue the red piece to the black part of the tail. After that, I'll smooth on the spikes and create the jagged white detail on the end of the tail. Next, I pressed on the base shape for his back and neck, and then I'll cut off the excess where I'll attach his head on later. Now I'll bake everything again. Next, I'll be creating the chest tire. It has mostly the same details as the tail, so I'll put the lines in it and add on the spikes. I cut a white circle in half and I'll smooth it on the sides. I made a stencil with some paper to help cut out the red spiky design for the sides. Now it's time to go back to the back. I'll be attaching large blue spikes all the way down his back and then smoothing them on. Now I'll take some red clay and press it along the edge to cover about halfway into the blue area, going all the way up towards the head. Now I can start working on the head. I'll attach a red triangular shaped piece for the head and cover the top part with black. Next, I'll smooth on spikes towards the back of his head and his neck. Now I'll press the white detail on the sides of his head and carve out a space for the eyes to go. I put the eye colors on in layers, and after I attach the black eyelid that gives him a more serious look. After that, I'll carve in the mouth design and poke in some nose holes. Now I'll add the blue handlebar pieces to the side of the chest tire, going over his shoulder. And for the eyebrow piece and the arm spikes, I'll be assembling them after they're baked. Now it's time to make the frills and antennas. For the frills, I made another paper stencil to cut out the petal shapes and arrange them together. For the long antenna-like part, I doubled up some wire by twisting it together and coated it with a thin layer of white clay. Then I cut out strips and wrapped them all the way around. I'll shade the frills and antennas using eyeshadow. I made some platforms using thin cardboard so they can bake at the correct angle. I had to remake the frills on his head and make them into individual pieces because it looked a lot better that way. For the final step, I'll bake these pieces and assemble everything. Now that he's complete, you can ride your best friend Koraidon across the Paldea region. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Go check out my other Dazzling Clay creations on my channel, and please subscribe and share the video if you loved it and would like to see more. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time!